Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Legal Tech Hub product briefing. I'm Stephanie Wilkins. I'm the Director of Content here at Legal Tech Hub, and today I'm joined by Bradford Jones and Michael Gormley of Cobblestone. Welcome.
Hey, Stephanie, thank you so much. Pleasure being
Yeah,
here.
thanks for having us.
Yeah, happy to have you today. If you could just introduce yourselves a little bit to the audience, and then we'll get into a little bit about what Cobblestone does before we see the demo.
So my name is Michael Gormley. I'm the sales manager here at Cobblestone Software, and I've been with the company for just about 8 years now.
Hey, all, my name is Bradford Jones. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing, oversee the go-to-market initiatives. I've been with Cobblestone a little over 15 years.
Well, perfect. Then you should be in a great position to tell us a little bit about the background of the company and how it got started and got to where we are today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to. Our founder, Mark Nastasi, founded the company about 30 years ago in 1995 as a point solution and purpose-based solution to automate and streamline each step of the contract lifecycle, from request, approvals, contract authoring, online negotiations, electronic signatures, obligations, compliance, and every micro step in between there. We're an AI first organization pushing innovation, but we're also blessed to be able to take advantage of being selected by over 1,000 clients and thousands of users worldwide to be able to offer those best practices to our current and prospective customers.
Great. And today we're going to be looking specifically at Cobblestone Contract Insight. And I know that, Michael, you'll be doing the demo for us, but if one of you wants to queue up a little bit what we're going to see in the demo before we dive in, that would be great.
So yeah, like Bradford mentioned, we offer that kind of full lifecycle CLM. I refer to it as cradle to grave repository. So it really allows organizations to track and manage a contract from start to finish. So whether that's as early as initial contract authoring and drafting, if we're the one initiating that initial version of a document to send to a third party to review, but we're also going to be touching on features in today's overview as far as how AI can be incorporated in that even initial contract review. Hey, we're getting sent a contract from a third party. How do we automate and streamline our review around what risks are associated with this contract, financial, liability, exposure to our organization, how we can use AI to incorporate, recommendations, whether it's based off of our clause playbook, our clause library, or even utilizing kind of connector tools such as like an OpenAI, the backer of ChatGPT, and then really how that could be incorporated throughout the entire lifecycle, automating internal reviews across departments, red lines, version control, all the way up to signatures, electronic signatures or wet signatures, and then even post-execution tracking and management, project milestones, key deliverables, obligation management, all the way to contract closeout.
Well, great. Then without further ado, why don't we jump right into the demo?
Absolutely. Everyone should basically be seeing a nice dashboard view. So the system itself is really just going to be a web-based solution. So from the end user's perspective, all they're going to need to access the system is simply just a modern day web browser and an internet connection. Today's session, I'm going to really be primarily focusing on our desktop edition. So I'm demoing from a laptop here. However, we do also offer a fully compatible mobile application as well. So if a lot of users are typically managing their contracts on the go, we do have a complimentary mobile application available in the Apple and Android store where they can utilize all the functionality we're going to be touching on today. So upon a user accessing the system, it's going to really take them to their home screen essentially, or what we like to call a dashboard. Now, all these dashboards are very flexible. This could be per organization system, per department, or even per user. And this is going to be fully tailored based on each individual user's expected use within the application. So we do provide out-of-the-box graphical dashboards. We're looking at an example here, which we call our year analysis. And we can see this is just a quick overview showing us counts of contracts that were worked with by year, some financial information like total contract amount, spend, and some other financials. But all of this data can be updated in real time. So at any point we say, hey, I want to drill into this. I don't want to include finance contracts in this output right now. We can see this data will fluctuate. We can say, hey, I don't want to include any business associates agreements in this view. We can see this all updates. We can drill down into these reports. We can also export them out of the system if we're creating more of a even executive level PowerPoint or summary. Other types of dashboards that we offer are more standard dashboards, and these offer a little bit more interactive capability with the dashboard itself, and then other areas of the system. Where that first one was more of, hey, executive level overview, we also have ones that kind of really dig into the details. So we have button tiles that launch pad users to other section of the system. Hey, I'm constantly going to my reports table, or I'm constantly searching for contracts or submitting requests. We can have an easy, quick launch button right here. And then they also have the ability to have what we call summary tiles that provide overviews of the important reports they're constantly looking at. I'm constantly seeing how many open requests I have, how many high-risk contracts I have, etc. These can easily be pinned to their dashboard for easy access, and we can drill down into these. Now, when it comes to getting contracts within the system, we do have the ability for users to manually create a contract by coming in here and hitting add contract. But if we're looking at the use case of a vendor sent us their contract and we need to get that in the system to start routing for reviews and approvals, we do also have this little drop files here up top. What that will allow a permission user to do is take that third-party agreement, whether a Word doc or a PDF, we can drag and drop, and the system recognizes that we've uploaded a file into the system. Now, I only uploaded a single file. We could also absolutely do this with multiple files at one time. But we're going to say, hey, this needs to be a new contract that we need to route for approval. What this is now essentially going to do, and I have this open on another tab just for the sake of time on this session, but essentially what that drag and drop is doing is it's doing a few things. First, it's going to automatically OCR that document. So it's going to make it paged, indexed, and text searchable. Once it is OCR'd, it's then going to use our Wisdom AI tool to examine that document and do a few things. It's going to first look to extract key contract attributes to populate within our list of fields here. So we can see the document I uploaded pulled out information like the contract title, the counterparty or vendor we're doing business with, but it can also go in and extract actual terms or clauses within the agreement. Now, these are all configurable to each organization. Somebody may say, hey, we don't have service deliverable clauses within our contracts, or we don't have SLAs. We're more worried about warranty, indemnification, force majeure. This is all configurable for each organization. But as an example here, you can see my system pulled out the service deliverable clause, the project scope that the vendor's proposing, but it then pinpointed actual attributes within those. So, hey, here's the actual initial payment due date they're proposing to us, and then the total project cost. Same thing as we scroll down. Here's the service level language they're proposing, also tagging the uptime percentage and our SLA credit. What we also have the ability to do is we can also even have this notify users that certain language was not found within the document. So we can see limitation of liability language not found. Based off of this, we can then also have additional alerts, notices go out to the appropriate users for them to take any relevant action. Now, on this initial upload, depending on who's going to be the one uploading it and participating in the review, we do have some additional AI tools incorporated in this upload. We have our high risk findings tab. This is going to show the users things like non-standard language that's included in this document, just to give us some insight. Maybe, hey, we want to dig into this a little bit more. It's also going to let us know if there are any uncommon clauses included in this document. And then if we look at our Wisdom Assist, we can see that it also provides the user with insight into a sentiment score or a risk analysis. Now, what this allows us to do is pick what party are we playing within this review. So let's say, hey, I'm the company within this negotiation. We can see it let us know that it found 6 positive clauses, 1 negative, and a good amount neutral. But let's say, hey, you know what? I want to view it from their perspective, or maybe I'm the licensee within this standpoint. We can see these updated a little bit. We have a little less positive, a little more negative, and about the same neutral. And we can dig into these notices right on this initial ad screen. Now, this is extremely helpful on initial upload. I'm also going to show how all of these risk scores and analysis and even more features are available when we're actually in the document review and negotiation portion. Now, before I pivot away from this screen and dig into more of the actual redlining and review, Stephanie, any immediate questions at all?
No, I like that it's simple, but the color coding of the positive, negative, and neutral, I thought that was a really good way to really make that stand out when you're reviewing that, especially on first glance.
Exactly. Yep. Makes it very user-friendly, very straight to your face. Majority of us all drive cars, so we know you mean red, green, yellow. But we'll jump in here. So once we were done filling out this information, again, whether it's automatically extracted or the user had to input additional values, we can hit save and continue. And it's basically going to take them to a contract details page. Now on that details page, I'll jump over to one I have created here. This is, again, a very configurable layout. So all of these tabs that we're seeing up top are completely configurable to each organization. They can categorize the information they want to see to make it as digestible to the users as possible. I have my general contract information, which is all the fields we have here. We also then have our files table. Then we have some other areas for tasks and emails where we can have automated workflows, trigger interdepartmental reviews, pricing and obligations, amendments, etc. But now that we have the document in the system, what I want to now do is initiate the review process. So, hey, one of our legal department or our contract reviewers or managers get notified, hey, there's a new record in the system that requires your review. They can either download this in the Microsoft Word desktop application, or they can also open this up within the MS OneDrive or MS Word Online. I'm going to open it up within the Word Online. All of the features I'm going to show are still compatible with the desktop edition. There's no lack of functionality if I were to just download it and work on the desktop app. But we can see here, once this opens up, it's going to give me prompts, say track changes are enabled, which is very common within Word Online. And this is where this is very similar to their current layout, how they probably negotiate contracts today. We can come in here, we can delete language, we can insert language, we can insert comments, etc. But where some additional Wisdom artificial intelligence is now going to be incorporated. If we come over here, we can pop open our MS Word Cobblestone plugin, which once I select this here, will provide a little pop-up on the sidebar. Now, this is going to offer a lot of those features that we saw on the initial ad screen. So we're going to have those high risk findings. We're going to have those sentiment scores and the risk analysis all within here. However, what this is also going to give us is quite a bit of more functionality. We have the ability to push this document through a full contract review. Basically, what Wisdom AI is doing is it examines the entire document and it provides an output in a deliverable checklist of any actionable items. So this is going to show them critical or missing provisions, any concerns around commercial and financial terms, structure and completeness issues. We can view any of the findings. We can say, hey, it's missing governing law and jurisdiction language, or it's missing limitation of liability or caps. We have the ability for it to essentially recommend language for us to use to include within our contract since it is missing. Now, the reason I say this is more task list or checklist is we have the ability to basically tell it, okay, I took action on this finding. We can see of my 12 findings, one is now reviewed or 8% complete. And we can continue to work through each of these findings and mark them as complete as I work through that. Now, with our assistant, this is really also going to be that true Wisdom agentic assistant. We can ask it to provide a complete generated document summary. What are the risks of this contract? What are the key payment terms, financial obligations, caps, warranties? It's going to generate a full document summary output. We do have also predefined prompts that they could ask Wisdom AI. So we can say, hey, are there any undefined or ambiguous terms found within this contract? We can ask it that. We can see that it's loading, going through that output, and it's going to provide those results as it goes through and reviews this document. So we can see it's comparing, evaluating those contractual obligations, cross-referencing, and we can see here they've identified several ambiguous or identified terms. We see there's some ambiguity amongst the services clause. We do have the ability to view right within the document this is pulling from. And then we also have the ability to replace this language with the recommended proposed changes that Wisdom is recommending here. Same thing, we can come in and say, what is the financial impact of this agreement? Again, you don't have to use the prompts. We can ask even more general questions. Hey, just give me an overall insight into the financial impact. Again, we can see this financial impact agreement primarily revolves around license fees and project costs. It summarizes what our license fees are going to be, summarizes what our project or implementation costs are going to be, what payment terms are being tied down to, if there's any additional costs, and then it just provides a little summary at the bottom. So again, this can be fully used throughout that full review. We can even come here and say, make the governing law for this agreement be New Jersey. We can come in and ask that question. It's going to provide us insight into where in the document the governing law clause was found. And then we can easily insert that change right within our document to make it update. And then this is also compatible with a lot of in-system features as well. So we can fully search for contracts within this tool. We can compare the clauses found within this document to clauses within our internal clause library. So that's based off of their internal playbook and language. We can see, hey, of the clauses found within the document, here's ones that match with your clause library, gives us the percentage of matching. We can see here's the system clause that's in our playbook. Here's what was found in the document. We can ask it to show us the differences. So we can get some insight, hey, how differentiating is our language? And if we even wanted to, we'll view where that is within the document.
Yeah.
Then again, same thing. We can ask it to replace it with either our standard language or an iteration of both versions. And then the final thing, as they're using these tools, once the user's done, and again, there's a lot more features in here that we don't have time to necessarily go through, comparing multiple documents and analyzing the differences. But once the user's done making these red lines and changes, we can easily come in here to our linked record view, and we can simply, with a click of a button, upload this new version right back within the core system. So as the users are done making their changes, we can see we got that check mark. If I close this out, come back into here, we have a single file for the moment. Once I refresh this page, we can see we're now going to have that new version of the document letting us know that it was added via Word add-in. So that's really the key features through that negotiation. We do also even have the ability, if users want to automate that even more, we do have the ability to auto redline, where basically based on our clause library and a clause playbook, it's going to do an initial pass and automatically strike certain clauses the vendor's proposing and insert our standard language as a new version. So it really just comes down to the client's preferences. How much do they truly want to automate that? Do they want to do a first pass and let the auto redline do everything and then go in and review? Or they can just say, hey, I'm going to review it myself and utilize that Word plugin to streamline that experience. Now, that's where with our task and workflows, we can then automate all of those interdepartmental reviews. It can go from a legal review to a vendor review, back to legal review to IT review, really kind of streamlining the notices for that collaboration amongst internal team members and departments. And then really once the contracts come to fruition, we do have the ability to send it directly out for electronic signature. We do have our own proprietary e-sign tool, which we call our Cobblestone IntelliSign. And then we also connect to a lot of third-party providers to streamline that connection as well. And then really, again, once the contract's executed, we do have full post-contract execution management. So the management of project deliverables, reminders, obligation tracking, vendor performance and compliance. Hey, if this is a vendor agreement, are they meeting the requirements of this contract? Are they meeting their compliances? And we can submit risk scores and risk rate against each of those vendors. We also offer connectors to a lot of third-party tools like your OFACs, your SAM.govs, your DMBs to integrate a lot of that data within the Cobblestone environment as well. Right. And then really everything within the system is fully searchable and reportable. So even if it's just metadata in the tool, or even if it's language within any of the documents that we upload, we have the ability to search through the entire system to find any of those results. So we're not limited on searching on just metadata. We can search through the text found within any of the documents that are uploaded as well. So again, that's very kind of initial high-level overview of kind of that negotiation, AI incorporation, and then that full life cycle. There's quite a bit that was skipped over, but for the sake of time on this, wanted to give more of that high-level overview. Any immediate questions, Stephanie, at all?
No, and I appreciate you doing the high level overview. And of course, it's obvious that there's a lot more features that people could dive into. And for that reason, we'll be putting a URL at the bottom of the screen so people know how to find Cobblestone. They know how they can reach out and ask more questions.
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. And we offer a lot of those tailored demonstrations for organizations. And we even also offer a free trial. So, I mean, organizations can really get their hands on there and on it and test it out themselves. Absolutely.
Well, great. Thanks for showing us that today. Thank you both for joining, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. You too.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.